are still bad at defense. Being in shape doesn't stop you from falling asleep on back screens or being left on an island come playoff time. You have to clear way more hurdles than looking good in a shirt on Instagram. I need to see the Luka Doncic that is in that conversation with Jokic, with Giannis, with those guys like he was before last year, because all this workout video is not moving the needle for me in the way that makes me believe that you're creating an actual contender with that Los Angeles Lakers.
Well, David, did you keep the same energy with Nikola Jokic? Because Nikola Jokic had to go through a stage of his career where he had to get in shape before he had to lose weight and get in shape before he hit a stage to go win a championship. Giannis Antetokounmpo had to put on 50 pounds and work on his body before he went and got to the mountaintop. Steph Curry had to go, bust his ass and put on weight and size before he got to the mountaintop. All the greats that have accomplished a goal had to reach some type of adversity. Hell, LeBron James had to leave Cleveland and go to Miami to learn the recipe and to learn how to learn to reach the mountaintop. Michael Jordan, he took his bumps and bruises against the bad boy Pistons in the Celtics and had to get in the weight room before he reached the mountaintop. This is nothing new. Like, guys hit this as young players that hit the ground running when they come into the league. They hit their head on the wall every now and then all of a sudden they have to bounce back.
Go ahead. Let Dave jump in.
Yeah, it's one thing to hit your head again.
Sorry. No, go ahead, David.
One thing to hit your head against the Pistons, to hit your head on trying to bulk up. It's another thing about hitting your head against, looking like you are in shape. We're talking about Jokic. I watched Jokic play a pre-overtime game in the playoffs. I watched Jokic go full 48 and not worried about if he's going to tire out. He's gone 7 games and done and pushed teams that limit. These are not things that I worry about. We're talking about LeBron's, Curry's, Giannis's, people like that. I do not worry about if they're in shape at the beginning of the season. I don't need to be worried about somebody like Luka Doncic.
David, I agree with you defensively. He needs to show the commitment. But think about being in shape. He's been a pro basketball player since he's 15 years old. Last year, he missed 7 weeks with the calf injury. It's the longest he hadn't played basketball in 10-plus years as a pro. So his body's out of shape. The important thing is he's responded to it, worked on his diet, worked on his off-season conditioning, and you should get a better version of him. You had to allow for him dealing with an injury that no other guy, that he's never dealt with before.
You know what, David? You're also missing this. And it's been a couple years since we had this with Perk. His favorite mocktail is that skinny Luka, and we're getting it this summer. He's going to be drinking a lot of skinny Luka mocktails. Big Perk is going to have those ready. All right, with Marcus Smart now in the lineup, the Lakers get some much-needed depth. So, Perk, I hear something caught your eye.
I'm Kendrick Perkins, better known as Big Perk, and nothing gets past me. Freeze! Just when you thought it did get past me, there I am. I spy a problem. I spy it all. Carry the hell on. And I do. And we have this term in my neighborhood. That game recognized game. And Luka recognized game because he's played against Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart and him has battled a lot through his young career. And he knows what it feels like to battle a former defensive player of the year. This is Luka's spot against anybody else in the NBA. I want you to look, this low post area right here. Look at Marcus Smart being able to take the contact, being able to hold it, and make Luka take a tough contested shot. Here you go again. Marcus Smart being the pest that he is, making Luka uncomfortable, forcing him to a tough contested 2-point shot. Luka saying, I know what this guy's gonna bring. I know the tenacity that he has. In Marcus Smart, in Luka's career, against Marcus Smart, he has shot 29.7% when Marcus Smart is the closest defender. Again, game recognized game. It's a reason Luka hopped his ass on that telephone to call Marcus Smart, because he knows what he's going to bring to the table.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. I think Marcus Smart is excited. But Dave, you kind of alluded to it earlier. How much of an impact can Smart have? Considering, look, he hasn't played 60-plus games in 3 seasons.
Which is a great point to point out, George. But obviously he wasn't in the best situations in Memphis because of the injuries they suffered as a total team. And in Washington. I don't even want to call them Washington. He was with the Washington Wizards. You can't use the
No
W.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to win. So he was so excited to be in the Lakers facility yesterday. It was like he got a new lease on life. He's back in a winning situation. Yeah, he's on the other side of the Celtics-Lakers rivalry, of course, but he recognizes that both those franchises play to win perennially. And I think just that kind of effervescent attitude will do a lot for this group. He looks at it like, we got a chance. I asked him, the West is stacked. Yeah. And he said, well, I would stack us up against anybody else in the West. We have no ceiling. That, to me, that energy, that confidence will do a lot. Getting this ball rolling in the right direction from day one of training camp.
Yeah, listen, I had Marcus Smart on the radio show on 710 ESPN here in LA, and I asked him about that Wizards situation specifically. Wizards, sorry. He talked about the finger being a real issue, obviously, but I asked him, look, sometimes these teams in their situation, they want to play the young guys and make sure that those guys get some run. And he kind of laughed a little and says, yeah, it's a different circumstance when you're playing on a team like that. So anyway, all right, Marcus Smart isn't the only guy to play for both the Celtics and the Lakers. Shaq is an all-time Lakers great, winning 3 titles, 3 finals MVPs, and a regular season MVP in LA. He also played his final 37 games of his career for Boston and going for 9-5 in that stretch. Then Rajon Rondo, one of 2 players to win titles with both the Celtics and the Lakers, joining Clyde Lovellette. A young Rondo won a title with Perk back in 08 on the Celtics, and then again in the bubble with the Lakers. And then lastly, Isaiah Thomas finished 5th in the MVP voting for the 16-17 Celtics by scoring nearly 29 points per game and trailing only MVP Russell Westbrook in clutch time scoring. He also averaged 14 a game in 21 games for the Lakers later in his career. All right, Perk, let me ask you a question. And this is a tough one because people are watching, because they're always watching. Would you have suited up one more season if the Lakers would have come calling?
You damn right I would have. You damn right. Especially for the vet minimum. Suit me up, and I would have did my role to the T. And that's sitting on the bench and being the extension of whatever coach they had at the time. You damn right I would have suited up for the Lakers.
All right, fair enough, Perk. I love it. You keep it 100 all the time. All right, still to come here on NBA Today. The new look Clippers seem players have worn the number 3 their entire careers, but Beal has already said CP3 will take it for his 21st season. So, Perk, how do you see the Clippers utilizing Bradley Beal?
I mean, I think he's going to do fine offensively. To be honest, he has no choice. I think this stint right here with the Clippers is going to determine the future of Bradley Beal. And he's on the clock right now. And he has no excuses not to flourish in this offense, especially when having a coach like Ty Lue who maxed out guys. We saw it last year. He maxed out Big Zubac. We saw Norman Powell have a career year under Ty Lue. And we seeing James Harden be one of the best facilitators last season, but over the last 3 seasons, this is on Bradley Beal, how he's going to be utilized. Bradley Beal has to come in and do his part. The team is going to put him in position to be successful, but again, he's on the clock. I think this stint right here is going to determine the future of his career.
Dave, let me ask you this here. How can they not fall into the same traps that maybe Phoenix did in that situation? Or how can he play differently and the Clippers can handle this situation differently than Phoenix might have?
Well, first of all, Phoenix didn't really have a point guard. That was the problem. They brought in Tyus last year, but the first year it was switching. Now it's your turn, KD. Now it's your turn, Bradley Beal. Now it's your turn, Devin Booker. I think the team construction makes more sense for Bradley Beal here, but to me it just comes down to, like, this guy, 13 years in the NBA, 3-time All-Star, more than $318 million in career earnings, and 3 playoff series that he's won in that time. So he's finally in a situation, theoretically, where he can go on a deep playoff run. And let me tell you, I've had the good fortune of covering championship teams with the Lakers and the Cavaliers in my time, many finals teams as well. There's nothing like being part of a team and playing round after round after round. It really makes you closer with your teammates, and it's the pinnacle NBA experience. I think if he can experience that with the Clippers here, he may have found his final home in the NBA.
David Dennis Jr.?
The best thing that the Clippers got with Bradley Beal and a lot of their moves that they did this offseason, but they have a lot of wild cards now. Now, Bradley Beal was not a guy who would be for a big three. We saw that with Phoenix, where you can have three guys with the offensive skill set that can carry a team with a lot of deficiencies. He's not being asked to do that. He's going to score well with this team, and a lot of other players will too. But what you get from Bradley Beal is a guy who, on a given playoff night, Game 5, Game 6, he can swing that series. He can give you 35 on one of those nights. Chris Paul can have a perfect Chris Paul game on one of those nights. What you have with the Clippers is a lot of versatility and a lot of guys who come playoff time can swing the tenor of an entire series. Don't tell me the Clippers could not have used a guy like Bradley Beal in Game 7 when everything was falling apart. If he gets hot in a close playoff series, he could be the difference between the Clippers falling apart and having a miracle win, because you have, again, one of those guys is a wild card.
Well, you know, I think the interesting part, and you mentioned it, Dave, was certainly the roster construction, I think, is much more beneficial for Bradley Beal. But the one thing none of you guys mentioned, and you started to allude to it in regards to career earnings, he can get paid again, okay? My man's only 32, 33 years old. He's got one more contract in him. There's a lot of motivation there for sure. All right, the Clippers over-under win total as a team has been set at 47.5 at ESPN Bet Sportsbook, 6th highest in the West, behind the Thunder, Rockets, Nuggets, Wolves, and Lakers. So David Dennis Jr., where do you put the Clippers in the West?
I'm putting the Clippers in the second half of the playoff picture in the West. I'm not doing this thing with the Clippers again. I put all my chips in the middle on the Clippers last year, and I went bankrupt, banking on Kawhi Leonard, banking on James Harden, thinking that these guys were going to come through in the playoffs. I have a lot of questions about this team this year. Yes, they have a lot of talent. The age is one thing, but I'm not going to assume that we're going to get a healthy Kawhi Leonard for a lot of years. I'm not going to assume that James Harden is suddenly going to show up in the playoffs in a way that we have not seen before. I was wrong about the Clippers at the beginning of the year when the over-under was 35 games. Then I went all in on the Clippers and was wrong. This one, I'm going to temper my expectations on them. I know a lot of people are excited. I'm looking at this Clippers team to be anywhere from